last section, you're probably going to be just in front of that transition. So move your body so that your over direction stays consistent. This is where we do tend to get into a lot of trouble with creating weight right behind the ear. So just be conscious of that little transition in the direction of the head shape. And you'll notice I'm here on her left side now, and I haven't changed my body position. I haven't started to step over to this side and pull the hair to that side then. And it's for two reasons. Number one, we're not over directing forward or back to create length forward or back, but especially when we start to get into these body positions where our fingers are kind of more on a diagonal, we find if we change body position side to side, it becomes inconsistent. So we've discovered that for us, it's just better to stay in a similar body position on both sides, and that keeps this line very, very consistent. All right, so now let's go into the top. So we're going to drop this top area down. And what we'll do here is we'll section again for what we're going to preserve for the face framing portion of layers. One thing that we'll probably notice is that this line, if we carry it straight up, straight up, straight up, we're going to be behind that pinnacle or the peak or the high point of the head. And most of the hair that sits behind that high point, that hair is not going to fall more towards the side or more towards the front, so we don't want to include that in our face framing. So we're going to take the section from where it ends on the side, we're going to find the high point of the head and section to that. So you'll end up with a slightly diagonal back type of a section. Then just marry that on the other side. So what we're parting off now is the difference between the hair that's going to live more on the sides in front of the head and the hair that's going to live more in the crown area. So you can see now we have more of a crown section. We'll take that hair that's left in the front, just part it down the center for now. Doesn't matter where she parts for the moment. Incorporate that into the sides, and isolate it with a clip. Let's get into the crown section here. Because the crown is a very round surface, we're going to work in pie-shaped sections, because these pie-shaped sections, as they radiate down, will turn into a vertical section. If we kind of take this section as a true vertical section, what ends up happening is you almost end up diagonal in the shape of the head, so this pie-shaped section keeps us more vertical. The most important thing is that center point of the pie shape always goes back to the center, to the high point. And we're going to want to find ourselves in about the same width of section at the bottom of the section. So just think about that section size that you had in those previously cut sections. So grab a little bit of water here. We just want to keep her damp. This isn't something that we have to keep the hair sopping wet for. So just enough water in the hair for control. We added the, we added the One United as a cutting lotion. So as long as we keep the hair damp, we should have really great control over the hair. Again, here you have decisions to make, because if we want shorter layers, then we want to continue to keep a higher elevation, and we could even change elevation here as we transfer into the top of the head. And if I wanted a lot of fullness, a lot of body on top of the head, maybe I would go there. But we want to keep these layers a little bit on the longer feeling side, so we are going to keep the elevation consistent from the bottom, which was that 45 degrees above horizontal. What that does is it keeps me from getting shorter as I go. top. In fact, it's going to start to get a little bit longer. And for you super hair dorks, yes, as we get onto the top of the head, it's almost going to create a bit of graduation towards the top of the head. And that's going to leave us that longer feel to the layers. Again, take a slight piece of that previously cut section, continue to pie shape along the head. Again, we're not going to over direct back here. We're going to take both sides of the sections, meet that into the center of the section. Elevate up, there's my guide from underneath, and there's my guide from just behind. So the great thing is you have two guides now to follow. And softly point cut to the previously cut section. Again, consistency is really the name of the game here. We just want to be cautious with our elevation or over direction. And clean sectioning is really important for this, because if we start to lose our section cleanliness, especially with these pie-shaped sections, we tend to start to kick off to one side or the other, and we'll create some asymmetry in the haircut. So if you find that in your haircuts, you find that one side tends to get longer than the other, two things to look at. One would be your sectioning. Is your sectioning traveling in an odd way around the head shape? The other thing to check into is, what is your over direction? Is the over direction staying consistent? And over direction is actually from our feet more so than our hands, because wherever our feet are, that's where the hair is going to want to go. So just be conscious that your body has to move for your over direction to stay consistent. So I'm just going to continue, and you can start to see this really beautiful layered shape start to come together, really soft, really airy, long layers. So we're going to continue one more section here on the right side, and then replicate that on the left side. Now that all our layering is finished through the back, and as it's started to work into the sides, now we do want to start down here and get into the perimeter. The reason for that is the face framing is going to need to be very cautiously detailed to the perimeter, so we need that perimeter line. We got some efficiency out of not cutting that perimeter right off the bat with the layers. But now it's really important that we have that perimeter length set in so that we can base our face framing layers off of the perimeter length. Let's just give her a touch of moisture again with that. Our feet more so than our hands, because wherever our feet are, that's where the hair, and softly point cut to the previous. That continuous mist bottle. So I'm just going to continue, and you can start to see this really beautiful layered shape start to come together, really soft, really airy, long layers. So we're going to continue one more section here on the right side, and then replicate that on the left side.